Good morning, everybody. How is everybody doing this morning? Good, I hope. So I hope everybody had a wonderful Christmas. Today is the 26th. It is my daughter's birthday today. So, yeah. Imagine that. Here we are, 1995. I am so pregnant. We're at my mother's house for Christmas dinner. I literally have my plate sitting on my belly because my belly is like huge, right? Standing in front of the Christmas tree, and I'm just like really, really huge. and and then the very next day, I got up to go to work, and I'm like, I had a doctor's appointment. That's right, that's right. I had a doctor's appointment at like 10. So I got up, went to work, did my stuff until it was time to go. My husband and I went to the doctor's appointment, and we get there, and he's like listening and listening and listening and listening. And he goes, we're going to put you on a monitor. And I said, okay, that's weird. Because she wasn't due until like the 15th of January. And so we're there, and they put the monitor on me, and all the things are coming, and he kind of looks, little papers coming out, and he's looking, and he goes, huh. And I said, what, doc? And he goes, well, I don't know as if it's paternal or maternal, which is the parent or the baby. And so I'm like, okay. And he goes, I'll be right back. So he goes and gets his assistant. They come in, and he goes, so what do you think? And she goes, I think it's maternal, which I think would be the baby, right? Paternal would be the parent, and maternal would be the baby. I think. I'm not sure. But she thought it was the baby. So he goes, okay, thanks. So she leaves, and he looks at me, and he goes, so today's a good day to have a baby, huh? And I'm like, what? And he goes, yeah. We're going to send you over to the hospital, and I'll meet you over there. And I said, okay. So the hospital was directly across the street. So here I am waddling over to the hospital, get across the street, get up in the maternity ward, and then they check me out, and I'm not having any labor, so they try to induce the labor, which I've already been through that with my first child, and that's no fun at all. I think it's called Pitocin. They turn it on, and it starts dripping, and within minutes you are actively in labor, and I'm like, oh, stop it. So it was terrible. So they did that for a couple of hours, and I wasn't dilating. I wasn't, I'm not in labor. So, but my daughter's heart rate was elevated. So they were concerned. We were all concerned. So then the nurse goes, well, how about you just go for a walk? And I'm like, go for a walk? I said, I can't go outside in my nightgown. She goes, no, but you can walk up and down the hallway. And I'm like, okay, I get it. So I'm out there walking up and down the hallway, Did that for 10 or 15 minutes. And I said, okay, so now what? So she goes, yeah, you are not in labor. I said, I know. And the Pitocin did induce the labor. So let's get some coffee going while I'm gabbing. So then, he's a very open doctor. So the room directly across from me was also a woman, and he was her doctor as well, having a baby, right? Well, she's having her baby right in her room. So he's sitting at the end of the bed going, push, and he like looks over at me, waves, come on, push. I'm standing at the door in my hospital room watching this lady have a freaking baby, literally. Pushed it right out in front, and I'm just like, oh, this is so cool. Live up and personal. So that after he was done with her and the baby, everything went great with them. That's awesome. And I'm sorry, I have to stop here and say, rest in peace, Dr. Show. I miss you. Unfortunately, my OBGYN had passed away from cancer a few years ago. And I miss him so much. But, so back to my birthing story. So he comes in the room, and he goes, hey, you're being tough, aren't you? And I said, yeah. I said, are you going to send me home? And he goes, no. He goes, we're going to go have a baby. Follow me. I get up out of my bed and I walk behind the doctor, all the way to the delivery room. Walk in there, hop up on the bed, lay down. And at that point, my mother had gotten there. And so it was my husband, and my mom. And I'm going to stop here and get my cup because this next part is good. It's good. Oh, you know what I think I'm going to have today? I think I'm going to have a cup of tea. It's non-caffeinated. I've been a little jittery, so I am going to have some non-caffeinated tea this morning, and it's delicious, so I have no problem with that. And I'm even going to do a double take, two tea bags for me. I like my tea strong, decaffeinated or not. I'm just trying to get rid of my jitters. I'm not sure why I'm having such bad jitters. Pardon my blood sugar because I've been taking my diabetic. Oh, I took it yesterday and then I got sick after that. So I'm just like, oh my God, what's happening? But then I get up on the table and they get me all down and they, put my arm out on a bar thingy, right? And my husband's in there. And I said, hey, Doc, my mom really wants to be in here. And he goes, sorry, only one person at a time. And he goes, but she can watch from the door. So they open the door. And I'm like, cool. So my mom's standing at the door watching me have a cesarean. And so, yeah, I had to have a cesarean. And my husband, oh my gosh, my poor husband, he had no clue, none whatsoever what was going to be happening. So he's like, hold my hand. Oh, you're going to be okay, sweetie. You're okay. You okay? And so what had happened, here's what had happened, is the pain guy, the guy that gives you the pain medicine. What is he? Who is? Okay, anyways, the guy that distributes the medication to keep you out and whatnot. So all they did was they gave me a local or whatever they gave me that was supposed to numb me like up to here so I could be awake during it. And I was awake during the whole thing, except for the medicine went too high. So it numbed my lungs. So I couldn't feel myself breathing. So I'm like, I can't breathe. I'm not breathing. I can't breathe. Why am I not breathing? Yeah. And so I was going in a little bit of panic. So my husband's like, calm down. It's okay. You're breathing. It's fine. You're breathing just fine. Yeah. And I'm like, I can't feel myself breathing. What? So the medicine went a little high, which was, it was fine. As long as it didn't reach my heart, I was going to be okay. But, so the anesthesiologist, the anesthesiologist was, he gave me just a tad too much, but, it was fine. And I calmed down. So my husband's standing there. Oh, you're going to be okay. And so what they do with the cesarean is they put like a curtain up, right? So from here up, I'm here, right? And my husband's here. But then there's this curtain to where he can't really see what's happening down there, right? So he's like, oh, you're okay. And so my doctor's doing the cesarean. And my husband goes, you're going to be okay. And then he stands up, leans back, and looks. And he goes, are you going to be okay? His eyes were like, he goes, you're okay, right? You're okay. He was freaking the fuck out because he had never seen anything like that ever in his whole life. Anything. And it was hilarious. Poor thing. I felt so bad for him. He had no idea what to expect. And he did not expect that. So, and this may be a little too gory or whatever, so if you have a weak stomach, you might want to stop the video now. But, so fair warning. So when you have a cesarean, and maybe people don't know this, most people do, right? What they have to get to the baby. So where they cut you is, right down here, right? They cut you right here, and then, but there's stuff in the way. So they have to remove all that stuff to get to the baby. Well, they take your organs and they kind of slap it up here on your belly. So when my husband looked back, I don't know what organs they take out, probably some bowel and some, maybe your liver, whatever. I don't know what they remove and set up here, but I know that they do that. So when he leaned back like this, he said, "Oh, all of my innards were up here on my belly, and they were starting to pull the baby out." And he freaked out, totally, 100% had to freak out. So yeah, poor thing, I felt so bad for him. Well, that is, and then I had her, and my mom was standing there the whole time. So, and then she came out. Okay, so then she came out, and she did not cry, and I started to freak out. So they're like, okay, the baby's out, and I'm like, listening for the cry, right? She's not crying. She's not. So then I'm like, I'm starting to freak out. Why is she not crying? Why? Why is she not crying? She needs to cry. She needs to breathe. She's not breathing. If she's not crying, she's not breathing. You know. And the nurse is like, honey, she's fine. Her eyes are open. She's looking around. She just is not crying. Never cried. They never had to spank her to cry. Because I think they swat him on the butt, which gives him a jolt of, right? So I don't know. She must have just, when she got out, just, but without crying. I don't know how it happened, but not a whimper out of that child. Oh my God, I was freaking out. So they assured me everything was fine, and that they were going to take her to the nursery, and I was going to go to the recovery room and da-da-da. So of course, I'm recovering from cesarean at this point and sleeping my life away. And so I wake up, and I knew the pain to expect. Absolutely knew what to expect. I had a cesarean with my first child. The healing process is longer, but I think because you don't have it vaginally, you don't rip and you don't have to, right? There's nothing from this point down happening. So I think all in all, I think it was the better route for me anyways. But, so she's in the nursery and I'm sleeping and my husband won't leave my side. And so I finally wake up and my mom's there. And I call the nurse. I said, I'm awake. Can I visit with my baby? And they're like, sure. So they bring her in. Oh my goodness. What an adorable little baby. I could not believe it. And I'm like, okay, what is happening here? So she was very early. So she was about 3.5 weeks early. And I don't recall this with my first child, but I did have them 12 years apart. So I'm looking at her, and she's got this layer of hair all over her body. Like she looked like a little monkey. And I'm like, and she had hair coming off the top of her ears. And I'm like, why is she so hairy? She was so cute, but she was hairy. To this day, she's a very hairy person. I don't know where all the hair came from, but I had extreme heartburn the whole time I was pregnant, and which indicates hair is growing. So, yeah, and I'm looking at the nurse. I said, this is all going to fall out, right? She kind of goes, yeah, it'll all fall out. She'll be fine. But yeah, she was very hairy down her back, right, and here at the small of her back, hairy, all over her body. She had this peach fuzz all over, but then longer hair. The hair on her ears was at least 1 inch long. I'm like, look at all the hair on her ears. Oh my God. But yeah, so yes, it mostly all fell out. She's a hairy person, but she deals with her hair. She gets her hair removal stuff and going on and all that. I don't know why or how, but yeah, she was so cute. I think I have a picture of that. I'm kind of doing this with the hair on her ears, but I don't know. She probably won't let me show you. I'm not sure. I got to dig out my pictures to see, but yeah. So that is my story, and then I got a little bit more of the story too. A little bit more. So it was today. So 5 p.m. 5:45 p.m. is when I had her. So, so I visit with the baby, my mom, and everything, and I'm feeling good, and I want a cigarette, and I hardly smoked the whole time. So if you're a smoker and you get pregnant, the doctor would love for you to quit. However, if you have a stress disorder, kind of like me, then you can stress out the baby if you quit smoking. So lower your intake of smoking for sure. But the doctor's like, I really don't think you should just go cold turkey on cigarettes because you're going to stress out. You're going to be stressed and the baby's going to be stressed. And it just won't be a good thing. So I went down to, I think I was having, within 4 months of the pregnancy, I was down to like 5 a day. And then I went down to like 3 a day. And then the day I had her, I hadn't, well, about 4 days before Christmas, I hadn't had any cigarettes at all. So I think that could have been what the stress was happening with her was. So she was born addicted to nicotine. However, she doesn't smoke. She never has. And so that's a good thing. I got lucky there. And my other daughter doesn't smoke either. So neither one of them smoke, which is surprising to me since I'm a smoker. My mom was a smoker. My whole family was a smoker. I've been a smoker. There's not one person in my family that doesn't smoke. And I even have a sister that doesn't smoke. No, she smokes. She just hides it. She thinks she hides it. She thinks she hides it, but her husband knows. He's not stupid. But anyways, so I asked if I could go out and have a cigarette. She said no. And I said, come on, please. She said, you're going to get sick? I said, I promise I won't get sick. I promise. So, against her wishes, because they can't really stop me, I went and had a cigarette. So I got my slippers on and my robe on, my coat on and all that, because it was cold outside, December 26th, right? And get my cigarettes, and I said, Mom, come with me. And she's like, okay. So we get in the elevator, and we go down the elevator. Everything's fine. We go outside, we smoke a cigarette, we talk. We have a second cigarette because, once I get back up there, they're not going to let me back out. And so then we're coming back in the hospital. We're getting it. As soon as the elevator starts going up, it was a wrap. I was blah all over this side of the elevator and blah all over that. By the time the door opened, I was just like, I think I'm okay now. The nurse was standing there. She goes, I told you. I said, I'm sorry. But I did get to get, and I smoked too, and I think that's where the issue was. So didn't want any cigarettes after that for sure. No more cigarettes for me. So then my husband and I got a congratulations steak dinner in my hospital room that night. That was great. Visit with the baby. We were there for probably 4 days, and then we got to go home. Everything was fine. We get home, and because I'm such a workaholic, 4 days later, I go back to work. 8 days after cesarean, I go back to work. So, yeah, there's that. So, that's my day after Christmas birthing story. So, my daughter's birthday is today. Oh, thank you for joining me for morning tea. And if I make coffee, I'll record that as well, but I don't think I'll have coffee today. I'm having